In George Orwell's 1984, Winston struggles to find his place in a society of mindless followers. He himself is able to think for himself as an individual. Individuality is banned in this society by Big Brother, yet Winston continues to express himself as an individual. This gets Winston in trouble with the government, and then the government takes Winston and brainwashes him so that he becomes another mindless follower within their society. I will be analyzing passage 1. This passage is located after Winston has been captured. In this passage, we see Winston traveling down a corridor accompanied by Julia, O'Brien, Mr. Charrington, and some guards. While traveling down the corridor, Winston is going crazy, yelling and shouting. Yet Winston feels comfortable because he knows that there is no more uncertainty in his life. He knows exactly what's going to happen to him from this point on. In the next paragraph, we see Winston reflecting on his relationship with O'Brien and everything that has happened after his capture. After this, Winston's brainwashing begins. First, I'm going to take a look at Winston being an intelligent being within this society. The reason that Winston is going insane is because of his ability to think about his actions and not just be another pawn in the government's game. So this brings up the question: in a society such as the one in 1984, is it easier to be one of the mindless followers? In this passage, we see Winston going insane because of his ability to think, yet everybody else who is unable to think like Winston is perfectly happy and going about their lives fine. This is also shown when the author states the last detail of his life was laid bare, understood, which shows that Winston is now at peace because he doesn't have to think anymore. He knows exactly what's going to happen. Next, I want to take a look at irony within this passage. It is ironic that Winston believes that O'Brien is just like him throughout the story, when, in fact, O'Brien is the complete opposite of Winston. O'Brien is completely involved with the government and with Big Brother and believes in it fully, while Winston does not. Winston realizes this in this passage when he says it was O'Brien who was directing everything, and he was the tormentor, he was the protector, which shows that Winston trusted him as a protector when O'Brien was actually the tormentor all along. Finally, I want to take a look at the language within the passage and the underlining tone it gives the audience. In the first paragraph, the language reveals a tone of hopelessness with a slight undertone of freedom from suffering. The author creates a hopeless tone by saying Winston was describing his past to an audience who knew it already, or the last detail of his life was understood. The freedom from suffering tone is creating by using a phrase such as everything was alright, there was no more pain, which shows that Winston is now free of suffering, free of wondering what is next to come. Everything was going to be alright, and there's going to be no more pain from this point forward because he knows exactly what's going to happen. When Winston was talking about O'Brien, the tone created is an angry and unforgiving tone. This tone is created by the author by repeatedly using the phrases, he was this, and he was that, and it was him who, which emphasizes Winston's feelings towards O'Brien within the passage. This also reveals the tension between Winston and O'Brien from Winston's point of view. The tension between Winston and O'Brien is evident throughout the passage, not only from Winston's point of view, but also how O'Brien views their relationship. O'Brien shows his feelings towards Winston by trying to demonstrate his power repeatedly to Winston so he knows exactly who's in charge. And he does this by standing over Winston when he wakes up in his cell and looking down at Winston, making sure that Winston knows who's actually in power now. He also reminds Winston that he is in power by saying, "I told you that if we meet again, it would be here."